Hey everyone, welcome back to Apptica Talks podcast. Today I share our studio with Alessandro Giuliani, commercial director at Dataseat. And for this episode, we have prepared a marvelous topic and we are going to talk about UA from in-house DSP perspective. Ciao Alessandro, come stai?
I'm very good, thank you. Molto bene. Thanks for
Great.
having me.
So, yeah, before we start, just tell us about you, your career, your experience, how you start your path with Dataseat.
Sure. Yes. I mean, it's going to be a long one. I try to recap it in a few in the most important points. But yeah, I'm Alessandro. I'm the commercial director at Dataseat. Dataseat is a mobile DSP, and we focus on transparency and on privacy of the users. I think my career started mostly in this industry around 10 years ago when I was working at Criteo. That is when I met the co-founder and CEO of Dataseat, which is my boss, David Phillipson. We were working together on the mobile app team. So that's, I think, when I started the kind of the understanding on this incredible industry. And from there, after 4 years, I think I moved to Liftoff, which is kind of it was following that path of my uh, interests in mobile app advertising. Been there for a few years as well, and all these previous experiences got me excited about joining Dataseat. In fact, in Dataseat is I was the employee number one. I started from the beginning, really, with the two co-founders, and I think the premises of joining a mobile DSP when there were many other mobile DSPs out there. It was the web, it was the privacy of the user that it was kind of following what then Apple started to push a lot.
Mhm.
And then secondly, it was this transparency, giving to the advertiser all the tools in order to understand how they were spending the money. And it's been an incredible experience. Dataset was acquired by the Verve Group in July 2022, so just a few months ago. And considering that we started the business in January 2020, it's been a very good ramp up and an exciting journey. So yeah, very happy to share my experiences with you today.
So you were from the very onset, right? And was it challenging and difficult to cover all the directions, development, strategic goals, just cover all the points in the company?
Yeah, I think it was an amazing challenge in a way. There were many stressful events for sure. And as any startup, being there only three people at the beginning, everyone listening now that has been through the same can probably understand the challenges. There's many slaps in the face that you get, but there's many exciting moments where you actually that makes you like particularly proud of what you're doing. But yes, I think the personally what I really like it was just building the team and making sure that the communication and the excitement was in building something new was there was a stream of this energy into then defining what we do and the product. And in my role now I cover pretty much all the global operations of the company. So there's the existing business, so our clients that are working with us, they choose our technology for increase the audience, sorry, the user base. And then there's the new business as well, right? And how to support the sales team, how to forecast the business, the marketing, another super important aspect, which is your
Yeah.
territory. But marketing is very important, and defining how the how to go market strategy is key. So we try to participate to events as much as we can, running podcasts, doing keynotes, and then that is always then the results of hard work and like decision that you make all together. So I think if there is one thing particularly I'm excited about is just literally building something from the beginning, a business that then can add value to our clients. And that was literally our vision at the beginning. How could we add value to all the mobile app developers out there that wanted to follow the new rules of privacy and user privacy? So I think we've done a very good job now. The future is still challenging in different ways. So and we're still embracing all of them and try to make the right decisions. I think one thing that I believe is key when you start a business is literally a strong empathy that everyone should have, and the opportunity of understanding your colleagues and understanding the team, make sure that the communication is delivered in the most efficient way. That is something that we've been really working on. I think we did a great job, but of course, as any
Yes,
business.
you did. You definitely did. So, and I completely agree with you about a vital role of marketing as a head of marketing here. So, and also I share these views about additional value. So I always try to put into our projects, marketing projects, some additional value for the industry. So it's really great what you are doing. But if we consider DSP in a more specific way, so the first question that I got, it's about bidding, and we have already discussed this part with Smarter. So from the angle of SSP, so now we have completely different angle. It's DSP, and I guess the strategy and the pattern here. So it has some differences and peculiarities, and that's why I wanted and I want now to discuss it with you, and especially taking into consideration this transition of privacy and this slight transition from behavioral strategy to contextual one. So how you manage it within Dataseat?
Yeah, that is a great question. First of all, for everyone who's listening, like we work in a part of marketing that is called performance marketing. So all our clients, all the conversations that we have with our clients are not based upon how the beauty of the creatives, but they're based on the performance that creative delivers, right? So everything is trackable, especially on mobile app, devices. So we can actually see if when we show an ad, the user is clicking and then is converting. And so that is the output of our conversation with the clients is, okay, how much they increase the user base thanks to our advertising. So that ends into the game is about to try to show an advertisement to the right user, to a user that we think it will be converting. But that historically, that part has been managed by many DSPs that in a way that they've been storing a lot of information about all of us, about the users, and then using them in order to find the best user that were interested in music app, in dating apps, in gaming, and you mentioned any other vertical that could be out there for mobile apps. So that it is something that we wanted to change. Apple, in fact, the deprecation of the IDFAs that happened on in April 2020 was something that was perceived by the industry as something really bad, or like everyone was scared. How are we gonna find the right user now that we don't know who
Everyone
they
was
use?
terrified. Yeah.
But instead, fun enough, I need to share that day that happened, the Dataseat, we were really happy, and we remember popping a bottle of champagne with colleagues and saying like, now we have an opportunity to push our main differentiator out there and say to our clients, look, this is something that we've been working on. So the basis of our technology was built considering that, so without considering, I would say, who the user is. And so your question is spot on, because how do you bid? What's the difference? And so we are a technology company because the automated responses, automatic processes that we make. And although I believe in manual optimization, the technology and the machine learning, these things are very important in order to add value. So everything starts from USA Smarter. Before we received from all the SSPs a bid request. And we need to decide when to respond with a bid and when not. And if we think actually that kind of bid request would be good for our advertisers that we're representing, then how much are we bidding? And that is kind of the bidding strategy, I think, is kind of clear for everyone how it works in the normal auctions that we have, in our world. But then this is the being perfectly efficient with how much we bid, and finding the right users in that kind of pro privacy ecosystem is a new game. So when we said, okay, now we're not going to know who the user is anymore. We don't know, oh, Xenia is about to see an impression, but instead we know that there is someone in central London with an iPhone 14 with an operating system of iOS 16 on a Saturday evening. All these variables are important variables that we believe that we could still make the right targeting, which is what you were mentioning before, the contextual target. So analyzing all the contextual variables that we have out there and try to make the right decision on behalf of our advertisers. And so that's the premises basically of what we do. Now, we have an incredible machine learning team that they constantly building automated machine learning models in order to capture which one of these contextual variables that will deliver the best performance for our advertisers. So, and there you can see how suddenly it becomes very complicated, because we have advertisers that might be in every different vertical. Very popular is in mobile app advertising is gaming, but even
Yes,
within
and
gaming.
this difference, yes, sorry for interrupting, and more importantly, I guess here the difference between gaming and non-gaming verticals, because
Correct.
sometimes, they are perceived as different, completely different verticals with completely different strategies.
Yeah, exactly. It gets very complicated when even within one category you have many subcategories, and that is completely a new situation where the behavior of set of users that are playing puzzle games might be completely different from users that are playing RPG games or any football games. So that is one let's say in-app purchases usually kind of vertical, but then we might have a subscription base. We're working with some of the biggest music streaming apps, trying to adding value, try to increase the user base, try to increase the subscriptions in that case. So then the user that subscribe is a user that maybe might have a different loyalty to a user, but you're gonna pay monthly, right? So you wanna you're committing to the product, probably more than someone who's playing a puzzle games every morning in the tube, because that user maybe might be willing to jump from one game to another just according to the new trends and to the new kind of apps that are out there. So we try to instead to step out from the view and consider all these variables, but then analyze the data, and the data will tell us which one of these variables they're affecting the future conversion of the user and which one are not. So I mean that goes on and on.
Yeah.
I keep talking about that a lot, but then ultimately there is an optimization piece that is important, right? So we need to make optimizations and then improve the performance, even though when the machine learning takes the control.
Yes, and we are much alike here. I mean, Dataseat and Apptica, because we also all the time feed our algorithms with data trying to predict the outcome. So just to see all these variables. So we have
Exactly.
similar strategies and patterns here. Yes, and talking about optimization that you have already brought up. So we have, for example, a publisher with a set of creatives, and they want to receive particular results from your side. So how you will achieve that, how you will optimize the ad campaign. So what will you use for that?
Yeah, in order to improve the results.
Yes, just to get the expected results that
Expected
publishers
results.
set. Yeah.
Yeah, that is well, that's a very important thing, right? So sometimes we work with advertisers, and we start working with advertisers that have really expectation to get a performance delivered in just in a week. It's like, oh, this is our ROI targets. And then in week one they're like, oh, it's not there, or maybe it is already there. But so I think in our contextual approach, the more we can test, the better it is, because not everything is going to perform well. All the variables I was mentioning before, but actually the most important one is where we're buying our advertisement. So the publishers that you were actually just mentioning now is a very crucial one. And so the more we can test, the more we can understand, okay, this kind of bunch of settings are delivering better performance. And so the optimization piece that you're actually asking me about is something that starts probably with a machine learning. And then again, we're a technology company. We've dedicated a lot of our effort into that and how to improve that. But I'm also a believer that still humans can make the difference. It's not all about AI necessarily. And we definitely, with the support of data, we can make sometimes decisions that a machine learning could not. And then, because we're talking about publisher, just to make an example, what is important in our contextual approach is the affinity of the publisher to the advertiser, product. Is just to give you, just for everyone to visualize that a bit better, is when BMW advertise on the Financial Times. BMW believes that the user of a Financial Times might be more willing to buy that amazing car. So they find the right audience in that environment. So when we advertise for a music app, for instance, finding apps where to run the advertisement that could have something to do with music probably is the right move, is the right thing to do. So something that machine learning maybe can't do is just proposing new apps. So we spend a lot of time, and we dedicate a lot of effort into that kind of research. Then maybe we can create there another AI or another machine learning that help us supporting with that. But all these inputs are done at the beginning by in that manual way. So that is something that we're fostering, and our team has an incredible customer success manager team that runs a combination of machine learning, automated sort of optimization, but also a manual optimization and tweaks to support the.
So you have like a hybrid system of both.
Correct. Yeah, I would say mostly, is machine learning technology automated, but then the support of, us is still humans behind the machines, and we still we support that a lot, and there are many manual optimization that we constantly do.
Yeah. So there is still hope for humanity. So
We still have our job. We try to protect our job is key, and I think
yeah.
definitely, and I'm truly supportive of that, and yeah, and that's why we hiring for us is an important thing. Hiring the best professional that can contribute the best to with that technology, with that kind of framework is very important.
And where do you put these creatives? I mean, where do you buy your inventory? So do you have any preferences in terms of ad networks, or they're completely equal for you?
Very good question. Again, we live that we want to study the data. So the more ad networks and SSPs, right, the supply side platform where we buy our inventory, our goal is to try all of them. When we have a new advertiser, we want to try all of them, try as many publishers within them that actually can deliver the performance. The bad news is that some of them unfortunately won't perform as some others. But then again, it's a pattern. It's not all the same across our clients. So some clients will find more affinity on the inventory, let's say, that certain SSPs will have, and some others with completely different ones. So we always balance out, but ultimately we're representing our advertisers. So we want to add value to them. The supply is, we are clients for them. We try always pushing us to buy more and more, but our decisions are always driven by the performance of our app developers that we're representing. one thing is important to mention as well, that we now, us as a Verve group, we also have the supply side. So I think you familiar with Smarto, with Pub Native. So definitely there's connection, strong connection, and something in the future that now we're working on, since we've been acquired in July, is increasing the synergy and improving the technology in order to buy us more, us to buy from Smart and Pub Native in a more smart way. So we're sharing with the team, but we're constantly working together and very closely in expressing to them our requirements on how we believe that we could improve the performance of our clients, and then they actually give us feedback on how potentially they could do that, or they suggesting new things. So we're looking, now into a bit the future, but this is something that we're really working on. But then ultimately, imagine if we wouldn't get from them at the moment the good as performance as maybe from others SSPs out there, that we're working with all of them pretty much, then we wouldn't prioritize our now internal one in a way, because we would just, again, we want to deliver the best return on investment for our client, and all this decision are taken from the machine learning. So we don't have, we can make manual optimization, as I was saying, but then ultimately we run the traffic everywhere, and then we push where the performance is.
So yeah, you have a huge traffic, and I can't even imagine how many creatives you have coming through. So it's my curiosity. I don't know, maybe you have noticed, maybe you are not quite strong in creative mechanics, but maybe you have noticed some mechanics or some formats that are running pretty well. It's just my personal one, because we like creatives at Apptica, and all the time I ask our speakers about creative part.
Yeah, I mean, I love creatives. What you realize when you work in a technology company or in a DSP is that your idea what a creative, which one is the best creative, often is completely ruined by the performance. And
Yes, and do not coincide with your expectations. Yes.
exactly, I always say like, oh, I really like these creatives, and then we put it live, and actually it's the worst performing. So ultimately, we need to pause it, and the machine will pause it automatically if it's not delivering the expected results. So creative is a part that ultimately is the output of what we do is actually delivering creatives for our advertisers out there. But again, it's just another contextual input. In our contextual approach, it's just another input that we don't put my personal ideas or anyone's ideas in what we should run, but instead we kind of run them and see which one are the best performing one. Now, when we talk about creatives, for everyone listening, we have videos are the most popular one. We have static,
Yeah.
we have playables. So there are different formats of creatives. Now, in general, in the industry, that the creatives can be also more, different. The new innovative way of also doing creatives that we're also analyzing. There could be audio creatives. There could be like
A new trend now.
game creatives. So everyone is trying to think, okay, which one is the best creatives, the best, the best user experience as well. But then again, we are in performance marketing. So it's the performance that is dictating pretty much, okay, which one is delivering. Also, because we sending ads to millions of users every day. And so, it's hard my idea could be completely different to actually what most of the people idea is, luckily. And so we just analyzing the results, and we always constantly in the research of what else is out there, what else are this company. So we're dedicating some time. There are some team members that they can dedicate some time into looking and browsing and see what creatives actually other advertisers are delivering or creating, and then we want to find the technology behind on how to run them, because then again we bind the inventory for all the SSPs, and the ultimate creative it could be is a piece of code that we need to make sure that when we get a bid request is automatically well uploaded and delivered in the thing with the app. So then you can see how also that gets complicated, which is a challenge that we try to outcome from having great relationship with our clients, having great relationship with our supply side, constantly having this kind of a conversation open, and and then ultimately try to pick the one that are performing the best.
So yes, especially this integration can be hard with playable ads. Because they're quite difficult to upload with difficult codes. Yes, I've heard some cases, negative cases about that. I mean, in terms of technical points. Okay, so if we expand on the privacy topic a bit more, so we have new scan out there and all this blah blah about scan and all these talks and everything. We have a lot of papers and reports how to integrate, how to manage and everything. So will it affect you somehow, as you are driven by privacy and your primary focus on transparency, and you have to comply with new scan 4.0?
Yeah, I mean, we really welcome scan, right? Again, the premises of the data, the standing
Another bottle of champagne with
no,
scan.
it's pretty much the same one in a way, right?
Yeah.
For the listeners that are not familiar with that, scan is the new attribution frameworks that App is introducing in the same way as MMPs have been doing mobile attribution in the last 10, 13 years. We scan is definitely complicating the way of doing UA, don't take me wrong. So most of our clients are still using probabilistic attribution made by the MMP. And that gives us more data points compared to scan. Scan is the extreme way of supporting the privacy of the users that we completely agree with. But in order to find the right users, in order to find the most efficient way of delivering performance, scan is breaking the link between an impression and the install. So when we get as a DSP, we get postbacks back all the time saying this user installed, this user purchased, but scan breaks most of the time where the link with impression. So without knowing at what time, where, how we did serve an impression to someone that they actually then delivered an install or a purchase, how are we gonna optimize towards? So that is not fully what I'm saying. Is not fully correct most of the time because it's not breaking it completely. But what Scan is introducing is this privacy thresholds. That the more data you actually have, the more information you will have to a certain extent. You still won't know who the user is, as back in the Facebook days where you get a lot of data. We from the beginning, because Scan 4.0 now is under everyone's attention, but there were 4 versions before, right? And from the first one, really, we always been analyzing that, and at the beginning of Dataseat, we were thinking, okay, how can we add value? How can we create a technology that will still get all the input from Scan and deliver performance? So we've been working on specific way of optimizing the campaign with the Scan data that are very unique to us. We share them all the time with our clients. Have been running keynotes since most of last year in pretty much everywhere, talking about Scan and talking about our unique way of approaching this new attribution frameworks. And we are selected from many of our clients just as the only DSP testing Scan and testing the performance of Scan with the best results. So that again is one of this kind of excitement things that I was mentioning you at the beginning, where we're very proud of when you talk to a client saying, oh, you're the best, the channel that is delivering best Scan result. That happen often, and then it is kind of aligned with our initial goal, with our vision of this more privacy-centric user approach that we fostering. So that being said, again, Scan, it makes the UA more complicated, and because we are pro user privacy, we already working with Google on the sandbox pledge, for instance. So we want to anticipate what's out there, and we've been doing it quite well. But again, is there going to be another version of Scan in the future? Possibly, yes. Apple has been improving the attribution framework since Scan 2.2. At the beginning, Scan was not even delivering a post-view attribution. now they're doing multi-touch attribution, right? They increase, they lower the privacy threshold, they increase a more coarse grain value sort of information about postbacks informations, and so that gives a better visibility for sure on the performance of the impression that you buy, and what's next? We're here waiting. We're already forecasting the next move, and we're testing constantly with our clients which one is the way that improves performance.
Yeah, it's great that you anticipate all these changes, both with Sandbox and with Scan, because you can get all the advantages of early adopters. I guess it's really great to be ahead in the market. And apart from Scan, so it's also trend, I guess, one of the top trends for mobile industry. Apart from that, what other trends we should take into account, and what to expect from Dataseat in 2023, in 2024. So you have a completely new chapter with Verve Group. So what's your development plan, and where can I meet you? At what conferences where we could discuss everything face to face?
Sure. So I've been spending a lot of time in the US. I'll start from the last one. I've been spending a lot of time in the US actually this year, because we're expanding a lot in the US. So we've been hiring there, and participate to event is also important. Having this discussion face to face. Ultimately, again, we're still an industry made by people, and we it is always nice to talk in person, shake hands, and understanding. Oh, can I trust this person? Can I not? And I think that is something that we really encouraging all our team members to do. So in the US, I'm going to Seattle actually on Sunday for Pocket Gamer. From there, there's a MAU in Vegas, which I'm flying directly to. That will be the week after. And then we're going to Mobile Games Forum, which is a conference I really liked. They hosted me many times as a speaker, as a moderator. And there will be a very exciting one, a very nice one in Hamburg coming in June.
So I'll see you there.
Are you going to be in Hamburg? So yeah.
I will moderate the panel session devoted to surprise creative. So
Amazing.
that's
Yes,
we will be there.
And in terms of an industry as well, the privacy focus, I think, is gonna be the key. Ultimately, when we're talking about privacy, it means that all the DSPs or everyone is gonna just have access to less data. So I believe we want to work with a client, so with a platform, with a technology that gives you as much as this data possible. You want to work with the partners that are there talking about all these data and then making the right decision together, instead of keeping a bit secrets, keeping data for themselves. This time now changed, so I think we're gonna see in this year more a shift towards the amount of DSP and app network the app developers working with, and instead they're gonna start kind of reducing these numbers and picking some. I think one of the reasons it should be transparency, and ultimately another reason it should be lowering the amount of DSP and app network due to the privacy threshold the Scan is introducing. So if you spread your spend everywhere, you might have less access to this privacy threshold. Rather, if you use one only DSPs, which I hope that Dataseat could be one of the selected, then in that case you will allow the DSP to have more visibility on all this data. So that is definitely what the external one that we dedicate most of the time. Internal one, well, there's so many, right? We hiring quite a lot. So we're expanding, as I say, in the US. We building a strong sales team as well, and pretty much growing across all the different departments that we have, that we think are assets. So the data science, the business intelligence, the account strategies, and marketing. So hiring, when at the beginning, as I said, that was the number one at the beginning, is easy, the communication, to keep it among a small circle of people. Then now you're gonna get over a certain amount, and then you need to have more processes in place. You need to, so processes and communication and hiring and deciding, making the right decision. So which events to attend, where which one is the addressable audience from the target addressable audience for your sales strategy, how to go to market. These things are definitely going to be an internal challenge for this year that we're going to keep focusing on.
Again, we have challenges of expansion and of growth. It's usually hard to manage. Okay,
Exactly.
so a lot of plans ahead, and again, this expansion is pretty exciting. So I hope to see you in Hamburg. So and just discuss everything. So there, thank you very much for being with us today, for all your expertise and insights. So follow Dataseat to get more info and more insights. So and also Apptica.com not to miss the next episodes with great experts. So mil grazie for being with
Prego.
us here.
Thanks
Yes,
for having me.
it was a pleasure. So and we will keep in touch, Alessandro.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me.